Could Bitcoin possibly overtake Ethereum in market cap this year in 2021? Well, that's what one developer thinks. Today, we are joined by Ivan on Tech, one of the largest cryptocurrency channels out there, as he gives us the most bullish scenario for Ethereum I've ever heard, even more bullish than me. You guys have got to see what he says in this interview. Let's get it. Hey guys, I'm very pleased today to be joined by Ivan on Tech, one of the biggest and oldest crypto channels around. He's definitely seen everything from bear markets to bull markets. Glad to have him on the show. Ivan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Ben, and thanks a lot for having me on. Your channel is exploding, especially this year. It's been an absolute pleasure to see you grow, and you do have a very good and intelligent community who is up to date with everything, so it's a good pleasure and honor to be here with you.
Thanks, Ivan. I certainly appreciate that. I know we met each other face-to-face in San Francisco, and I was like, man, this guy's got so many subscribers. Maybe one day.
And now you're almost bigger. Now you are at the 260. You're gonna catch up. Because really looking at the views, your trend is insane. If the trend is your friend, your trend is truly your friend.
Yeah, I think. Well, you know, it's good. It's good, though, to have you as a friend, Ivan. And a lot of people, you know, that don't know, you know, a lot of us are friends. You know, a lot of the bigger YouTubers you guys see in crypto, almost all of us know each other and talk. And, you know, it is a really good group of guys. And I always say, you know, whenever you get brought up on my channel, I love Ivan. I love what you do. And speaking of what you do, you certainly have been around. When did you start your channel?
My channel started almost exactly 4 years ago. It was not really, but it was in May. It was in April, May 2017, and it wasn't even a crypto channel from the beginning. Just like you told me you were an anime channel, cartoon channel, I was a programming channel. So really my channel was called Ivan the Programmer in 2017 in April. And then one time I just did an Ethereum video which completely exploded, and that was the perfect timing, of course. And then it also happened so that some guy bought the domain name ivantheprogrammer.com, so I had to rebrand because he wanted to sell me that domain, and I'm not buying that. So then I rebranded to Ivan on Tech, and yeah, since then we've been doing videos each and every day on crypto, and it's been a fantastic journey.
Yeah, like an atomic clock, right? Know what you say?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's something I'm kind of really interested in. I mean, we're going to talk about Ethereum in a little bit because that's kind of the hot topic. Everybody wants to know. You got a crazy Ethereum, you know, price that you shared the other day on your channel. You guys make sure to go subscribe to Ivan's channel. We'll have the description down below if you're not already. But I want to know, you started your channel in 2017. I want to know kind of what's the comparison between what we're experiencing now with, you know, crypto YouTube blowing up and, you know, views everywhere and excitement about cryptocurrency. How is this comparing to kind of when things were getting heated up in 2017?
Yeah, we haven't seen anything like this in 2017. Even at the peak of the bubble in 2017, the kind of views that everyone is getting now, because all crypto YouTube channels, something has happened during the past month. Something has truly changed. Channels that got, you know, 20k views now get 80k. Some of, so like yours, for example, 100k plus on many videos. Crypto getting like 200k. It's absolutely insane.
It's 68,000 in 3 hours last night.
It's amazing to see because we've never seen anything like this. There has never been so much retail as it is right now, and that's something that most people still don't understand. Most people still think that retail is coming and that we're still a small club, but the numbers speak for themselves. Something has truly happened. Part of that is just that we as a crypto community become better at marketing our content. I mean, just looking at titles, thumbnails. In 2017, it compared to now, it was very basic. And of course, then the algorithm does not reward us as a community as much, so probably that's a big part. Just the number of YouTubers were smaller, less YouTubers. It was me, Box Mining, Louis Thomas, Tyzen, there were a few others, but now I feel that the community is bigger, more YouTubers, more people that are great at marketing their content, and so this creates this competition and positive spiral that grows the whole space. This whole YouTube space is very different. And in terms of the price, it's also very similar from the perspective that you don't really know what's gonna happen tomorrow. When you zoom out on 2017, it looks so easy. It looks that, oh, you buy somewhere there and then you sell in December. But when you go day by day, it's very uncertain. You don't know what's gonna happen. So that's the same, and we are seeing very similar things right now as well, that we are above all-time high, but it's shaky. Every day it's gonna be shaky for the entire bull market. That's a good thing to expect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've said that a lot of times, and it's just so funny. Like, I had conversations with with people both in real life and on YouTube and on TikTok, explaining to people like, hey, we're due for a 25 to 40% correction. Like, we're a little overbought right now. Like, this needs to happen for us to consolidate. And then what happens? We get it. It goes down 27%, and people I know panic sell, and everybody's freaking out. And we're just like, guys, like, we got to have this. These dips are going to come. It was not a completely smooth ride in 2017, like everybody seems to think it was looking at the chart. I mean, when you look, it seems obvious, but it definitely wasn't. So let me ask you this about, because you're saying like right now we're seeing more excitement on YouTube. And I do agree with you that a lot of it has to do with the fact that back then it was just as simple as just turn on a camera and talk. But now there's more competition, and the content is more highly produced and more competitive and things like that. But it is a little concerning, I think, if we look at 2017, and that was the peak of the retail investment bubble, and we're higher prices right now, and you're saying that there's even more hype and excitement now than then. What gives you the confidence to believe that we still are going to be in a bull run for an extended period of time?
Well, we can look at the past cycles. I know that you like that, and we discussed it on my channel. But I'm not really looking like that. I don't know whether it's gonna be in September. So you told me that the peak is gonna be in September. Probably that could happen if you look at the previous cycles. I look more day by day by day. So I look at different indicators. One of them that I'm showing to the viewers right now on the screen is the Nupal chart, the net unrealized profit loss. So if that one goes to euphoria, that's a good top signal. Then you also have another one, which is thermocap, which is also on-chain indicator, that shows when the price of Bitcoin in comparison to the inflation of Bitcoin in dollars is getting too high, when we pay for mining too much. And here on the screen you can see that as soon as it enters the red zone, it's time to sell. I know you cannot see, Ben, but your viewers could see that.
I'm imagining it.
Those are the indicators I look at, because I don't know how long this is going to be. We could hit euphoria tomorrow in the net unrealized profit loss, and then it would make me very concerned. And also these dips, they are also very important, like you say, because when net unrealized profit loss goes to euphoria, and it really stays in euphoria for at least a week or so, as we see here on the chart, the viewers can see when it goes to blue, that's basically the peak. We always see when it goes to euphoria, it's the peak. And 100% of times when we went to blue in euphoria on Nupal chart, we always collapse down. So when you have a pullback like we had now, we reset that Nupal chart a bit. We have a bit more distance until euphoria. So that's very important. It's also why we can sustain the bull market for longer. So dips are necessary. We need to shake out the weak hands. Otherwise, it's going to be very easy to just reverse this bull market into a bear market. But I do agree with you as well that we can look at previous cycles. And when you look at the time, September does look reasonable. I do expect us to continue for at least 2021. I hope we can do that. But there is still so much to experience. I remember the altcoin season of 2017. We still did not have it 17-18. So I feel that we have so much on the schedule still, and I do hope that we'll have time with all of that. And as more and more institutions get in, it's also gonna be interesting if they hodl or not, because I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I do hope that they are here for the long term, because they've taken all of these steps to get Bitcoin, to get custody. It's not cheap, and it takes a lot of effort and understanding. But also imagine if we have a bear market and Bitcoin goes down, 70%, 50%. Will their investors be okay with that if we're talking about the fund, for example, or not? So all of these are very interesting questions, and I think Bitcoin this year will truly hit global stage. We're gonna have a lot of new regulation, for example. We're gonna have a lot of new adoption, and hopefully we will not have that big of a bear market in terms of percent. Maybe we'll only go down 50%, maybe from 200 to 100k, for example. So that's how I view it. I'm not really having a specific date or specific time that the bull market needs to go on for, but I look at day-to-day indicators, and when we see warning signs, then we react.
Yeah, and the NUPL chart, it definitely was really important that we pulled back on that chart. I was watching a guy on TikTok. We've got a little Crypt Talk club, we call it. Virtual Bacon on TikTok. He showed that a lot. Yeah, and he talks about that in UPL, and we were getting dangerously high, and it's definitely good we had a pullback. You need consolidation, and you need a place for people to more people to get in, and people say, oh, it's going up, and then you have this big fall down. They're like, oh, now I can jump in. And the people that aren't afraid to jump in at that point, I mean, they definitely reap benefits of getting better entries. Just briefly, we're going to talk about Ethereum here in a second, but last thing I want to get to in terms of Bitcoin price, how do you see the events of the world right now, what's going on with the United States, bringing in, I call her Janet No Tellin' Yellen, because there's no telling how much money she's going to print into the United States Treasury. How do you see what's going on in the United States with the Treasury and the money printing playing into the price of Bitcoin right now?
I think politically, we will probably see a lot of stimulus, a lot of money printing, a lot of everything to everyone when it comes to the new administration. At the same time, I'm a bit worried because everyone expects that. Everyone and their grandma expects insane money printing and the dollar getting weaker and weaker. And normally, sometimes at least, it is the fact that most people are wrong. And looking just at the dollar dominance, not dominance, but the dollar strength chart, the DXY index, dollar currency index, we could see a move to the upside. It could absolutely be time for some kind of move to the upside there. So it could shock us because everyone now expects the stock market to moon, the cryptos to moon, the dollar to go to zero. But normally it is cyclical. So I do have that worry a bit about that the dollar is going to get stronger because everyone expects it to drop. But yes, you look fundamentally and politically, what really can Joe Biden do in terms of not delivering on his promise? He needs to deliver on the promises. He promised a lot, everything to everyone. And how do you do that? You can raise taxes, but that's not popular. So it's only printing. It's basically printing that he has. Also, I heard this very interesting thought from Tone Ways, that printing actually does not cause hyperinflation per se. It's a factor, but what causes hyperinflation in most cases, when you look through history, it is political instability. I mean, yes, you need to have printing, but what really kicks it off is political instability, because printing, US has been printing for decades and it's been okay. But as soon as there is political instability, that's when you can have a true danger of hyperinflation, because at the end of the day, it's all about trust. It's all about that people need to believe, and you can print and still keep the trust for quite some time. Yep. But as soon as the political instability becomes more severe, that's when there is a real danger. So let's see, there is very interesting time. It's very interesting time right now in US history with politics. And if that gets more and more turbulent, then I would be more bearish towards the dollar. If that gets more stable, then I'm not so sure. But politically, yes, I'm leaning more and more, of course, towards the printing side. But I also know that it can shock us because nothing goes down forever and nothing also goes up forever as well.
Well, I mean, you'd have to think at some point that these people aren't idiots, like surely they can look and see what they're doing with the money printing and compare it to the dollar index. And, I'm sure that some of the people in the government are watching some stuff that we say probably, and, in terms of the crypto community and what we think is going to happen. And surely they can't be so dumb to just think that they can print themselves out of this situation, even though that's what they're saying on the front side. And I definitely don't see the political stability in the United States getting stronger. I see the instability, only creating a wider divide. There's a lot of reasons for that. Social media is definitely one to blame. I watched this show called something on a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, it's very interesting how social media has pushed the two, conservatives and liberals further and further away from each other, and it's pretty concerning. But let's get back to crypto. Let's talk about Ethereum. You're a programmer. Your first big video you ever did was Ethereum. I'm super bullish on Ethereum. I think it is going to be the heads and shoulders winner of this bull run. What are your prospects? I know you talked about a crazy price point of $50,000. But where did that come from? What are your thoughts on Ethereum? Let's dice it up here.
Yeah. I think Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin in market cap sooner or later. Maybe it's not this bull market, but I think there's a good chance it's going to be this bull market. And the reason is because if you look at store of value traditionally, it's approximately 20 trillion. All store value, gold, real estate, it's 20 trillion approximately. Then you look at derivatives, we're talking about 500, 600 trillion. So it's orders and orders of magnitude bigger. And that's why I'm very bullish on Ethereum, because that's where most of the other finance happens right now. It is in DeFi. We do see lending, we do see all kinds of other use cases like synthetics. I know you like synthetics, but the thing is, when it comes to all of these use cases, and a big part of those use cases in DeFi are derivatives, for example, that you can have Tesla stock on Ethereum, you can have gold on Ethereum, you can trade gold on Ethereum, you can trade Tesla stock, you can trade Amazon, you can trade any asset. But how does it work? Well, you need backing. The way it works is that you take Ethereum, you back the asset, for example, Tesla stock, with equal amount of Ethereum that the Tesla stock is worth on the traditional stock markets. And that's where this concept of economic bandwidth comes in, because all derivatives, I think in the future on ETH, they will be backed by Ethereum, because that's the best asset to use as collateral on Ethereum. Why? Because it's the native asset, it has lowest risk, the collateral for derivatives needs to be low risk. If you have high risk collateral, it's going to be very volatile. But lowest risk collateral on the whole Ethereum ecosystem is ETH, the asset, because it is the native asset and it doesn't have any other risk that the other coins on Ethereum have, like the team or the technical risk or some rug pull, you know, all of this. All coins on Ethereum have inherent extra risk compared to Ether. And that's why Ether in itself will be the asset that will be used for lending collaterals, for derivatives collateral. And so when you compare what kind of market cap ETH, the asset, needs to go to in order to support even 10% of the traditional derivatives, then we're talking about $50,000 for one Ether. And I think it's quite reasonable to expect derivatives to move very, very quickly onto Ether, because it is a global infrastructure, it's global capital markets. All financial institutions will have DeFi on their backend. Why? Because if you're not part of it, you don't participate in the biggest financial market in the world. If you don't participate, you're crippled. You cannot get good liquidity. You cannot get the best rates, and so on and so forth. So that's why everyone will have DeFi as back. And we even saw yesterday announcement from OCC that potentially they're gonna discuss how to give bank licenses to DeFi protocols, which is insane. They recently also announced that banks can handle stablecoins. Why is it so? Because, well, for payments, one, but for DeFi, number two, you need to have stablecoin in order to use DeFi. So I think those pieces are falling together now, and it will be quicker than most people expect. And so that is where my target of 50K comes up. Probably we're gonna overshoot it by a lot. Maybe we're gonna go to 100K, because 50K is my fundamental target based on fundamentals. No market prices fundamentally. It always prices 10 years into the future, 15 years into the future. So that's why we may overshoot it by a lot, but fundamentally 50K is my target for ETH. Yeah.
Wow, that is a great explanation. I haven't really heard the derivatives on ETH argument. I mean, I think, you know, I can tell you, before I got into crypto, I didn't even know what derivatives were. You know, like 4 or 5 years ago, I had no idea what a derivative was. And the first time I looked at how much money there is in the world, there's several charts out there that you can look at, and you just see like how overwhelmingly huge the derivatives market is. You realize like there's a whole layer of the majority of financial dealings going on that most people don't even know exists. And, you know, I think that's, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but it's all about the fact that people want to speculate on everything. As soon as you have some kind of speculation, it is a derivative. So, if, for example, recently we saw this options with gas fees. If I'm an exchange, for example, and I have a bunch of outgoing transactions, I need to send funds to different users that want to withdraw. It's a big cost for me to pay gas fee. Well, why can't I just hedge my cost with derivatives? I use futures, I use options. Just like in traditional market, you should, if you haven't read, you should read the story about how Ray Dalio introduced Chicken McNugget into McDonald's. Because McDonald's, they wanted to have Chicken McNugget, but the price of chicken was volatile. Chickens went up and down. It was a very volatile market. And so Ray Dalio helped them to hedge the price of chicken in a way that they could have stable prices. So there's always a need for derivatives everywhere. In crypto right now, it's mostly speculation, the fact that you have perpetual contracts and to leverage trading, but the big thing will be all other use cases where derivatives are needed.
Yeah. Very interesting. So last thing I want to ask you about here, we talked about Ethereum. I love that. You've given me some ideas for some cool videos to make surrounding that. So definitely you guys will see some more about that on the channel here in the future. But I want to know Cardano. What do you think about Cardano? I think Cardano has a chance to compete with Ethereum in the future. Not during this, cycle. It's not going to pass Ethereum during the cycle or anything like that. But I really like, Hoskinson's approach to, basically testing everything before they run it. What do you think Cardano's chances are of eating up some of the market share of Ethereum over the next 5 years?
It's a good chance, but at the same time, it's very difficult to say before they launch. I mean, that's the thing. It all sounds great on paper. I love also the idea of having scientific checks and papers and checking everything and taking your time. I love that. But at the same time, I do know that fundamentals alone they're not enough. You also need a community of developers. So that's why I'm eyeing which projects are gonna build on Cardano as soon as possible. And I do know, for example, Bondly gonna build, then there are a few others. And that's a similar thing you see with Polkadot. They're not even launched. There are 1,000 Polkadot projects already that have committed to building on Polkadot because Polkadot is funding so many projects and there is this whole hype now. So that's good. I wish that Cardano had more of that, more projects committed already today to build build on Cardano. And I think it will be a big time for Cardano this year with the launch of smart contracts, because that's when we will see the answer. But yeah, fundamentally, I think it's very interesting, and I've had Charles also several times on the channel. I actually wrote to him today if he wants to do another one. That would be great as well, because it's getting close to the launch of the smart contracts. But right now, the thing that Cardano really had and has still going for it is the community. People love it. It's seen. I mean, it's true. You can truly see that there are so many people in the community holding Cardano, and they think that is the best thing. So that's perfect. And what they have to do now in February and March when they launch is to sustain that, because I can tell you it's gonna be more difficult. When you launch something, now you have the real thing in front of you, and people's imagination right now might be way out there. And even if you deliver the best product in the world, it might still be less than what people have expected, because I've seen similar thing with Tezos. I've seen similar thing like this with EOS. So hopefully Cardano will be different. Hopefully they release it is as good as everyone expects, and everyone also starts building bridges. I think interoperability will be big, and they are working on that. So that's perfect. Interoperability is maybe the most important thing. So you can take a lot of capital from the ETH ecosystem, and also you need to have incentives for people to install the wallet and learn the wallet. Those two things are the most important things. Install the wallet and learn the wallet. And we've seen the failure that EOS did with that, because the wallets are not good in EOS at all. Cardano has a good wallet, but it just needs yield farming. You know, it needs different ways for people to get some return, so they invest the time and energy to learn the wallet and learn the ecosystem, because it's quite difficult for most people to go from MetaMask to something completely new. Why? Because you're dealing with money. What if you mess up? You click the wrong button, you didn't save your password or whatever passphrase. It can be very substantial for people to move over. So I think on paper, perfect. I'm very excited, and especially I'm excited to see the real thing, how it develops, and hopefully we'll see new all-time highs for Cardano this year.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll see new all-time highs no matter what happens. But
that's true. Fundamentally, nothing is. I agree with that.
I mean, it's a lot of speculation. These bull runs are a lot of speculation on what could happen in the future. So, all right. Well, Ivan, we certainly appreciate you coming on the channel. Educating our audience on some different things. I think the derivatives conversation was very interesting. Everybody, you guys can go subscribe to Ivan's channel down below. Got links down in the description. Thanks for joining us, Ivan. And I think that's all we got. You guys make sure to have a blessed day. Good boy out.